Hi, and welcome to the next topic of this module. Now in this topic, we will learn about what is interface in Java. Now first of all, inside the IntelliJ IDE, let me now show you how can we use the interface in Java. And then after this demo, we will check out how practically is the interface useful while writing any program. Now to use the interface in Java, first of all, let us now clean up the code. And at the bottom, let us now define the rules for interface. So here, these are the certain rules to define the interface in Java. Now the interface is just like a blueprint of a class. That is, it should not contain any functional code. What I'm trying to say is, suppose we want to implement interface in our current application. So to define the interface, what I will do is, I will now remove the abstract class keyword and use the keyword of interface. So here we have simply created the interface of animal. And now, similar to the abstract classes, you cannot create the object of the interface as well, because the primary purpose of the interface is never to instantiate it. So at the top, within the main method, you cannot create animal instance. It is actually invalid, right? Now for the very next property of the interface, let us check out another rule. Use the implement keyword instead of extends keyword. Now, if you want to inherit all the property of the interface within the class of dog, then here we do not need to use the extends keyword. Instead of extends, we need to use the keyword of implements. So when we use class dog implements animal, then what it means that get all the properties of the animal interface within the class of dog, like this. Now the third rule to define the interface is that they can only contain the abstract methods. That is, the interface cannot contain a normal method. As said, they are just the blueprint of the class. That is, they cannot contain any logical or functional code. So we cannot write our code here as well. So the interface animal can only contain the abstract methods. So our requirement is now to convert this normal method into the abstract method and then remove the code from here. So here let us remove it. And now let us make this method as abstract. So abstract public void run, and here we have abstract public void eat method that we defined in our previous topic, right? Now when we implement a interface in our class, then as per the Java rules, we get all the property of the animal class. But we need to take care of one thing. When we implement an interface, then we need to override all the methods that are present within the interface because they are all abstract in nature, right? So here we have already overridden the eat method. Now it's time to override the run method as well. Now we don't have to write manually public void run again like this. Now instead we can use the shortcut. So whenever you find any error in Java, in that case you can simply click on the error and then press Alt plus Enter. Remember Alt plus Enter and then click on the first option implement method. The best possible solution will be shown as a first option. So let us use it, implement methods, and then there you will find what are the methods that you need to implement within the class of dog. So let us select run and click on OK. So there we go. The IntelliJ IDE has simply overridden the method of run within the class of dog. So within the class of run, we can write our code such as dog is running, right? Like this. So within the interface, we can just define our method, and the implementation of those methods we can do within the subclass of dog, like we have done here. Now at the bottom, let us check out few more rules. Now whenever we define a method inside the interface, they are all public and abstract in nature by default. So within the interface, we have defined abstract public void run and abstract public void eat. Now the run method and eat method, if you notice, they are all abstract and public. So by default, whatever method that are present within the interface are public and abstract in nature. So even if you remove it, then also by default the run method is now abstract and public. Similarly here as well, let us remove it. So still our code is going to work fine. Now just for the sake of simplicity, let us revert it back, right? And now let us check out another rule. Can we define variables in case of interface? Like in case of class of dog, we can define, let's say, int x equal to some value, right? Now similarly, in case of interface, can we define the variables? So for that, let us now check out the rules. Now inside the interface, always avoid using the field variables. That is, you should never try to use the variables within the interface. It is actually a very bad programming practice. But when we are going to use the variables, they should always be a constant. That is, once their value is defined, should not be changed throughout your program. Now as per the rule, we should avoid using the variables, right? But let me now show you when you are going to use the variables, then how you are going to do it. So for that, here I will use public static final, let's say int value equal to 19, like this. Or let us use pi and let us convert it to float 3.14. So within the interface, whenever you define any variable, it should be a constant. Now to make the float pi equal to constant value, we have used the final keyword. Now whenever you find the final keyword in Java, then always make a note that variable value is always constant. Now later on, if you want to change the value of pi, let's say within the dog class, if I use pi equal to, let's say, 4.3f, then it will simply show an error that pi is actually a constant and you cannot change the value. Right? So always remember, unless required, do not use any constant value within the interface. So let us remove it. And now, before I conclude this video, what is actually the significance of using the interface? How can we use it within our main method? Now since creating the instance of an interface is not allowed, right? But creating the reference of the interface is actually allowed. So animal space animal is actually allowed in case of interface, like this. Now we can create a new dog object, right? Now since the dog class implements the animal interface, so in that case what we can do, we can simply assign it to the animal reference. So we can now make the animal reference variable point to the dog object. Now with the help of this animal interface, I can use animal.eat and animal.run, like this. So using the interface, now we can control the object of the dog, like this. As simple as that. So this was all about the introduction video to the interface.